Jason had always considered his life ordinary. He woke up every morning to the same sound of his alarm clock, made the same cup of coffee, and walked the same route to his small office downtown. His life was quiet, predictable, and in his own mind, unremarkable. He liked it that way. The world was complicated enough, and he had no desire to chase adventure. At least, that was what he told himself. One Friday evening, after a long day of work, Jason returned home to his small suburban house. The sun was just setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Birds flew home to their nests, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves in the trees lining the street. It was peaceful. Jason unlocked his door, dropped his keys on the table, and sank into his worn-out armchair. He turned on the television, not really watching, more for the background noise. He sighed, thinking about the week he had just survived, scrolling absent-mindedly on his phone. Suddenly, a strange light caught his attention. It wasn't the flicker of a street lamp or the headlights of a passing car. It was a soft, shimmering glow coming from his backyard. Jason froze. His heart skipped a beat. At first, he thought it might be a reflection, maybe a trick of the fading sunlight, but the glow grew brighter, pulsating gently like it had a life of its own. Curiosity overcame caution. Jason set his phone down and tiptoed to the back door. As he peered out, his jaw dropped. Hovering a few feet above the ground was a figure, tall and graceful, surrounded by a halo of shifting colors. She wasn't wearing clothes as humans did, but her form was covered in a smooth, shimmering material that seemed to change colors with the light. Her skin glowed faintly, a soft, iridescent blue that caught every glimmer of the dying sun. Her eyes were the color of distant nebulae, deep and endless, reflecting a galaxy of stars Jason had never seen in real life. For a moment he thought he was dreaming, and yet every detail felt real. He could see the fine strands of hair that floated around her face, and he could feel the air hum with energy where she stood. There was a presence in her that was impossible to ignore. It was not threatening, not dangerous, but overwhelming, like looking at something so perfect and so extraordinary that it made the ordinary world seem dull by comparison. The figure stepped forward. The air around her seemed to ripple as if responding to her movements. Jason wanted to run, to lock the door and pretend this wasn't happening, but his legs refused to move. His mind raced, trying to understand, trying to make sense of the impossible. I don't understand," Jason stammered. His voice sounded small and weak even to his own ears. She tilted her head slightly and smiled. It was not a smile that showed teeth, but one that radiated warmth and reassurance. "Do not be afraid. I mean you no harm." Her voice was melodic like music, yet he could understand every word clearly. It carried a weight of calm authority, the kind that could make fear fade if only for a moment. Jason blinked. What are you?" "My name is Liara," she said. "I am from a star system far from here. I have come because you are needed." Jason's mind spun. "Needed me? Why?" Liara's eyes seemed to glow a little brighter. "It is not a matter of choice, only necessity. The universe has a balance, and you, though small in your world, have a part to play in keeping it." Jason could hardly breathe. He wanted to ask questions, so many questions, but nothing came out. He only stared, amazed, confused, and strangely calm at the same time. The impossible was real, and it was standing in his backyard. Over the next few minutes, Liara explained, not all at once, but in small pieces. She was a scout, an observer, a traveler between worlds. Her mission was not to fight, to conquer, or to harm. She sought something precious, a rare object that had been accidentally drawn into Earth's atmosphere. Without it, many civilizations in her galaxy could face disaster. Jason couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You're telling me the fate of civilizations depends on me?" Liara's gaze softened. "Not solely on you, but your perspective is required. Human intuition, your reasoning, and your unique understanding are needed to complete this task. You are ordinary, yes, but in your ordinariness lies something extraordinary." Jason laughed nervously. "I'm just me. I can barely figure out my own bills. How could I possibly help with galactic disasters?" Liara's smile did not fade. "It is not strength or skill alone that matters. It is insight, empathy, and the willingness to act with thoughtfulness. Humans often underestimate themselves, yet they are capable of much more than they realize." He stared at her, a mixture of awe and disbelief. Part of him wanted to run and lock himself in his room, but another part, a deep part he had never recognized before, was curious. He wanted to know more, to understand, to experience this adventure that had arrived unbidden in his backyard. The evening turned into night. Liara remained in his backyard, floating a few feet above the grass. Jason watched as she studied the plants, the stars, even the small animals that came near. She asked questions about Earth, about humans, about small, ordinary things that Jason had never considered important. Yet in her questions, he noticed something remarkable. She respected these things. She valued human life, human experience, and the quiet beauty of the world he had always taken for granted. Eventually, Jason invited her inside. She seemed to appreciate the gesture, stepping carefully over the threshold, her glowing form illuminating the small living room. They sat together, not awkwardly, but comfortably, as if the universe itself had aligned to make this meeting possible. She asked him about his life, his routines, his thoughts. In turn, she shared stories of distant planets, of cities that floated in the clouds of gas giants, of forests where trees could sing, and oceans that shimmered with living light. Jason listened, captivated. He realized that his understanding of life, of reality, was limited, far smaller than he had ever imagined. Liara's world was beautiful, complex, and boundless, and now, in some way, he was connected to it. As the night deepened, she explained more about the artifact. It had arrived on Earth hidden inside a meteorite, but its energy had begun interacting with the planet. If left unchecked, it could destabilize environmental systems, not violently, but in subtle ways that would ripple across ecosystems. Its energy was sensitive to thought, to understanding, and to care. It required a human touch, and Jason's ordinary human perspective was uniquely suited to harmonize with it. Jason felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. Fear because the task sounded impossible, and excitement because, for the first time in his life, he felt truly important. Not in a heroic or celebrated way, but in a way that mattered deeply, quietly, and meaningfully. Liara noticed his hesitation. She reached out, placing a glowing hand gently on his shoulder. The sensation was warm, like sunlight on his skin. "I will guide you," she said softly. "You are not alone in this. Together we will ensure that this artifact is safe and that balance is restored." Jason took a deep breath. His ordinary life had ended the moment Liara appeared. There was no turning back, and yet he did not feel trapped or scared. He felt ready. He wanted to see where this strange, extraordinary journey would take him. For the next several hours, they talked, planned, and shared stories. Liara asked questions about human behavior, about decisions, about why people acted in certain ways. Jason found himself reflecting on his own actions, his own thoughts, and his own potential. He realized he had never truly believed in his own ability to make a difference. Now, the universe had placed a chance in front of him, and he would take it. Before dawn, Jason stepped outside with Liara. The sky was a deep, endless blue, and the stars were shining brighter than he had ever seen. Liara pointed to the constellations and named them, not with names he could pronounce, but with meanings that he could understand. Each star represented a story, a civilization, a lesson. And somewhere among them, the artifact awaited, quietly waiting for him to help guide it to safety. Jason felt a surge of determination. He was just one human, living in a small house on a small planet. But perhaps in that smallness lay the power to change something vast, something important. He looked at Liara, who floated beside him, her presence steady and serene, and felt a sense of trust and partnership that he had never known before. The adventure had begun, and the ordinary life he had known was gone forever. He did not know what challenges awaited, what wonders or puzzles, but he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He was no longer just Jason, the ordinary human. He was Jason, the one chosen to help an alien warrior protect the universe, and nothing would ever feel ordinary again. And in that quiet, starlit moment, Jason realized something else. Life was not about waiting for adventure to find you. Sometimes it comes in the form of glowing light in your backyard, in the form of someone extraordinary who believes in your hidden strength, and in the form of a mission that would show you that humans, ordinary, small humans, could be extraordinary in ways no one else could. Imagine, the next morning, Jason woke to the soft glow of sunlight streaming through his window, but it wasn't just the sunlight that filled the room. Liara was already there, sitting gracefully on the edge of his sofa, her presence calm and luminous. He blinked, rubbing his eyes to make sure he wasn't dreaming. Yet when he looked again, she was very real, her eyes watching him with quiet curiosity. "Good morning," she said in her melodic voice, which seemed to harmonize perfectly with the soft hum of the morning air. Today, we begin your training. Jason groaned. Training? I barely know anything and you want to train me? Liara's smile was patient. Not in the way you think. I'm here to teach you how to understand, how to observe, how to respond. You will need these skills to locate the artifact and ensure it is safe. Your human perspective is unlike any other being in the universe. It may seem simple, but it is unique and necessary. Jason got out of bed, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves. The ordinary part of him, the part that worried about bills, groceries, and work, was being pushed aside by something vast and unknown. Today, he realized, life would no longer follow the predictable pattern he had grown comfortable with. They started with observation. Liara guided him to his backyard, where the morning dew glistened on the grass, making it sparkle like tiny diamonds. She pointed to each blade, each insect, each small movement, and asked Jason to notice not just what was there, but how it interacted, how it connected to the rest of the environment. At first, it seems unnecessary, she said softly, but understanding details is how humans solve problems no other species can. Every small detail is part of a larger pattern. Notice how one thing affects another. That is the first lesson. Jason bent closer to the grass, watching ants move in lines, carrying bits of leaves. He realized he had never paid attention to this before. For most of his life, he had walked past this backyard without truly seeing it. Now, under Liara's guidance, he noticed everything. The way the dew reflected the sunlight, the tiny vibrations in the soil, the way birds moved cautiously in the trees above. Good, Liara said. You have the gift of observation. Remember it. It will serve you well. After observation, they moved on to problem-solving. Liara presented simple puzzles at first. Floating holographic cubes appeared in the air, rotating slowly, showing symbols Jason had never seen. At first, he panicked. He didn't understand them. But Liara encouraged him to approach each puzzle calmly, to consider patterns, to trust his intuition, and to imagine solutions without fear of failure. Jason hesitated, then reached out and touched the first cube. It responded to his curiosity, spinning faster and revealing new patterns. Each time he solved a puzzle, he felt a sense of achievement he had never experienced in his ordinary life. Liara praised him quietly, noting the way his mind worked, the small flashes of insight that only humans seemed capable of producing. You are learning quickly, she said, not because of any physical strength, but because of your mind. Your creativity and intuition are extraordinary tools. Do not underestimate them. By midday, they paused for a simple meal. Jason cooked while Liara watched, fascinated by the process. She had never encountered food in the same way humans did. She asked questions: why certain ingredients were combined, why certain flavors complemented each other, and why humans found joy in preparing meals. Jason found himself explaining things he had never thought about, the small pleasures of ordinary life, and she listened as though discovering a new universe in every word. As the sun reached its peak, they went for a walk around Jason's neighborhood. People moved about their routines, unaware of the glowing visitor beside him. Liara observed everything: the interactions, the gestures, the unspoken emotions that humans expressed. Jason explained things simply, pointing out nuances that she might not understand. A neighbor waving, a child laughing, a dog chasing a ball. She asked questions, and he answered patiently. Jason began to notice that through teaching her, he was also learning. He realized that humans, though limited in technology compared to the stars, possessed a deep emotional intelligence, a kind of insight that advanced civilizations often lacked. Liara's admiration was quiet but sincere, and Jason felt proud in a way he never had before. Later, back at the house, Liara began the next part of his training: intuition. She floated a few feet above the ground and asked Jason to sense the energy around him. The artifact responds to energy, emotion, and intention. You must learn to feel patterns without seeing them. Trust your instincts. Humans can perceive things in ways that machines cannot. You must learn to connect to what is not visible. Jason closed his eyes and focused. At first, he felt nothing but confusion. But slowly he began to notice subtle vibrations in the air, the shift of temperature, the faint hum of energy that moved around them. It was unlike anything he had experienced. His heart raced, yet he felt calm. Liara guided him gently, correcting his approach without judgment, encouraging him to trust himself. Hours passed. They worked together, moving from observation to problem-solving to intuition. Jason felt exhausted but exhilarated. Every lesson was a revelation, every challenge a test of patience and understanding. He began to understand that being human was not a limitation. It was a strength, a unique gift in a universe full of wonders. As night fell, Liara and Jason sat on the roof of his house, looking at the stars. The sky was clear, and countless points of light stretched across the universe. Jason felt small, yet somehow connected to everything. Liara floated beside him, serene, her eyes reflecting the cosmos. "You have done well today," she said softly. "You are learning what it means to see beyond yourself. Remember, the artifact is not dangerous, but it is delicate. It requires understanding, not force. You must use what you have learned, the patience, the observation, the intuition, to guide it safely." Jason nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. "I understand. I will do my best." Liara reached out and placed a glowing hand on his shoulder again. "That is all I ask. Humanity has a potential that is often overlooked. You, Jason, are a reminder that ordinary beings can achieve extraordinary things when they act with care and wisdom." Jason smiled. For the first time, he realized that his life, once ordinary, had become meaningful in ways he could never have imagined. The universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges, yet he felt ready to face them. He had guidance, knowledge, and the extraordinary presence of Liara to support him. Over the next several days, their training continued. They explored nearby forests, rivers, and mountains. Jason learned to notice patterns in nature that mirrored the artifact's energy. Liara taught him how to approach challenges with calmness and creativity, showing him that sometimes the smallest, simplest actions had the greatest impact. Each night, they returned home and shared stories. Liara told Jason about planets where light moved like liquid, where forests could walk slowly across vast plains, and where creatures communicated through color and vibration. Jason shared tales of Earth, of human inventions, literature, music, and the quiet beauty of everyday life. Through this exchange, they grew closer, their bond deepening with understanding and trust. One afternoon, as they walked along a quiet riverbank, Jason asked a question that had been on his mind. "Liara, why me? Why not someone else, someone more capable?" Liara paused, watching the ripples in the water. "Because you are human. You have something that cannot be measured in strength or knowledge. You have insight, empathy, creativity, and courage that comes from ordinary choices. You may think you are small, but in the eyes of the universe, these qualities are immense. They are what the artifact requires." Jason felt humbled. He had never thought of himself as capable of anything significant. Now, standing beside this alien warrior, he began to see that his ordinary life had prepared him in ways he could never have imagined. The small decisions, the quiet patience, the care he had taken in daily life, they all mattered more than he had known. Their training was not easy. Jason stumbled often, made mistakes, and doubted himself, but Liara never criticized him. She guided, encouraged, and reminded him of the strengths he had overlooked. Slowly, he grew confident. He could sense energy, notice patterns, and solve problems in ways that surprised even him. One evening, after a long day of exploration, Jason sat on the porch, watching fireflies dance in the garden. Liara joined him, floating gently, her light mingling with the flickering insects. They sat in silence, sharing the peaceful moment, feeling connected to Earth, the stars, and each other. "You have done well," Liara said quietly. "Soon we will find the artifact, but remember, it is not just about locating it. It is about understanding it, connecting with it, and guiding it with care. Your human perspective is essential." Jason nodded. He felt ready, more ready than he had ever felt for anything in his life. The ordinary world he had known was gone, replaced by something extraordinary, full of purpose, discovery, and wonder. He realized that the adventure he had once feared was exactly what he had needed to find himself. As night deepened, they looked up at the stars together, feeling a quiet anticipation for the journey ahead. Jason knew that the universe was vast and full of mysteries, but with Liara by his side, he felt capable of facing them all. He understood that ordinary humans, when guided by insight, care, and courage, could rise to challenges beyond imagination. And in that moment, Jason felt a profound truth settle in his heart. He was no longer just a man living an ordinary life. He was a part of something greater, something vast and extraordinary, and the journey to protect the artifact and to discover the true potential of humanity was only beginning. The morning air was crisp, carrying the smell of wet earth and blooming flowers. Jason stood at the edge of the forest near his house, stretching his arms, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today, Liara said, they would begin the journey to locate the artifact, following subtle signals that only she and Jason together could interpret. For days, he had trained with her, learning to notice patterns, sense energy, and trust his intuition. Now, the challenge was real. Liara appeared beside him, floating a few feet above the ground, her glow blending with the soft morning light. She studied the surrounding forest quietly, as if listening to the very pulse of the earth. The artifact's signal is faint, but it resonates with the energy of life, she explained. We must move carefully and pay attention to the small things. Humans have a way of noticing patterns that are invisible to technology or advanced sensors. You will guide us through this part. Jason nodded, a little nervous but determined. He tightened his backpack, which carried some essentials she suggested, and followed her into the forest. The trees arched high above them, their leaves whispering in the wind. Birds chirped softly, and a small stream ran alongside the path, sparkling like liquid silver. Every step he took was conscious, each movement measured, each sound noted. He could feel the connection Liara had spoken about, a thread of energy linking everything: the trees, the wind, the stream, and the faint signal of the artifact. They walked for hours, carefully following the subtle vibrations that grew stronger as they moved deeper into the forest. Liara taught Jason how to notice shifts in energy, a slightly warmer patch of ground, a shimmer in the leaves, or a small ripple in water that indicated a disturbance. These are the signs that the artifact is near, she said. It interacts with living things. It is drawn to care and attention, not force. Jason marveled at how ordinary elements of the forest seemed extraordinary when observed with focus. The veins on leaves looked like rivers, the movement of insects resembled intricate dances, and the sunlight streaming through the trees created a mosaic of energy patterns. He realized that he had never truly seen the world before. He had walked past this forest countless times, but today every detail mattered. As they reached a small clearing, Liara paused. "The signal is stronger here," she said. "We must approach carefully. The artifact responds to intention and emotion. Your calmness, focus, and understanding will guide it." Jason took a deep breath, feeling both responsibility and pride. He remembered her lessons: observe, analyze, trust intuition. He stepped forward slowly, feeling the faint hum of energy in the ground. His heartbeat seemed to sync with the rhythm of the forest. He could sense a subtle pull, almost like a gentle tug in his chest, leading him to a spot beneath a giant oak tree. Liara's eyes glowed softly. "This is it," she whispered. "Now you must connect with it. Let it feel your intention, your care, your understanding." Jason knelt, placing his hands gently on the earth. He closed his eyes, focusing on the warmth beneath his palms, the life around him, and the hum of energy that seemed to flow through everything. At first, there was nothing but silence. Then, slowly, he felt a shift, a gentle vibration that responded to his thoughts and feelings. It was as if the forest itself was acknowledging him. "Good," Liara said, her voice calm and encouraging. "Feel it, do not try to control it. Let it respond to you." Jason concentrated, sensing the artifact's presence grow clearer, a soft pulse that resonated with the forest and with him. He realized that this was not a machine to be controlled, but a living force to be understood. He focused on patience, understanding, and care, and slowly the vibration stabilized. The ground shimmered faintly beneath his hands, a soft glow rising like morning light. Liara smiled. "You are learning quickly. The artifact recognizes your intentions. This is what I have been teaching you. Humans have a way of connecting with life that no technology can replicate. Your understanding, patience, and empathy are extraordinary." Jason opened his eyes, amazed. A small, crystal-like object lay partially buried beneath the oak tree, glowing softly with a rhythm that seemed alive. It pulsed gently, responding to his presence. He could feel a deep sense of harmony, as if the artifact and the forest had become one. "Now we must ensure it remains safe," Liara said. "The journey is not over. We must transport it carefully, guiding it back to a secure place where it can be protected and studied." They lifted the artifact carefully. Jason felt its energy flowing through his hands, a gentle warmth that made him realize the importance of every decision, every movement. Liara floated beside him, monitoring their progress and offering guidance when the artifact's energy reacted to sudden shifts in terrain or light. Their path took them across streams, over hills, and through meadows. Jason noticed how the artifact seemed to interact with life around it. The wind whispered differently, the grass seemed to sway toward them, and birds flew overhead in graceful arcs. It was as if the world itself recognized the artifact and responded to their careful guidance. Liara shared stories as they walked, telling Jason about other civilizations she had visited, where artifacts of similar energy existed. In some places, they had been misunderstood, misused, or ignored, causing unintended consequences. Jason realized the responsibility they carried was immense, even though it felt quiet, gentle, and careful. As they paused for a rest, Jason asked, "Liara, have you ever failed in your missions?" She considered the question, her eyes reflecting the sun filtering through the trees. "I have encountered challenges I could not solve alone, but failure is part of learning. The key is to understand, to adapt, and to act with patience and care. You are learning the most important lesson of all. That power alone is meaningless without wisdom, and wisdom is strongest when combined with empathy." Jason felt a surge of determination. He was no longer just following instructions. He was thinking, feeling, and understanding the significance of every choice. The artifact was delicate, yes, but it also symbolized the strength of cooperation, understanding, and the unique qualities of humanity. They continued their journey, encountering small challenges that tested their skills. A fallen tree blocked their path across a creek. Jason assessed the situation, using simple tools from his backpack and the surrounding environment to create a safe crossing. Liara observed, impressed by his ingenuity. "Human creativity is unmatched," she said. "You see solutions where others see obstacles." At one point, a sudden gust of wind threatened to disturb the artifact's delicate balance. Jason steadied it, moving with care and attention. He felt the pulse of its energy respond to his focus, calming the disturbance. Liara's eyes glowed brighter, a quiet acknowledgement of his growing connection with the artifact. By late afternoon, they reached a secluded hilltop with a breathtaking view of the surrounding forests and rivers. Jason set the artifact down on a flat, soft patch of grass. It glowed steadily, its energy harmonizing with the world around it. Liara floated beside him, her presence serene and radiant. "You have done exceptionally well today," she said. "You have learned to observe, to understand, and to act with care. The artifact responds to these qualities, and now we can proceed to the next phase, ensuring it is returned to a secure location." Jason looked at the horizon, feeling a sense of accomplishment and wonder. He had started the day uncertain, nervous, and overwhelmed. Now he felt confident, connected, and capable. He realized that the journey was not just about protecting the artifact, it was about discovering the extraordinary potential within himself. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in deep oranges and purples, Jason and Liara prepared to move again. The artifact's glow blended with the colors of the sky, casting soft light on the ground around them. Jason felt a profound sense of purpose. He was no longer just an ordinary human. He was a guide, a protector, and a participant in something far greater than he had ever imagined. Liara placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Remember this moment," she said softly. "The lessons you have learned today will guide you through the challenges ahead. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and never underestimate the power of your humanity. That is what makes you extraordinary." Jason nodded, absorbing her words. He understood that the journey was far from over, yet he felt ready for whatever lay ahead. The artifact had chosen him not because of strength, not because of skill, but because of the unique qualities that only a human could bring. They spent the night at the hilltop, resting under the stars. Jason lay on his back, staring at the endless sky, feeling a connection to the universe that he had never known before. Liara floated beside him, her glow gentle and soothing. For the first time in his life, he felt truly part of something larger, something beautiful, and something meaningful. He realized that the adventure was not just about the artifact. It was about understanding the world, discovering the power within himself, and embracing the extraordinary potential of humanity. Each step, each decision, each moment of care and attention mattered more than he had ever imagined. As dawn approached, Jason felt a renewed sense of determination. The next phase of their journey awaited, but he was no longer afraid. He had learned to observe, to understand, and to act with purpose. He had discovered that humans, though ordinary in appearance, could possess extraordinary insight, creativity, and empathy. And with Liara by his side, he knew that they could face whatever challenges the universe presented. Together, they would guide the artifact safely, protect its energy, and demonstrate the quiet, profound power of humanity in a vast and mysterious cosmos. The morning sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting a soft golden glow across the landscape. Jason awoke feeling a mixture of excitement and calm determination. Last night, lying beneath the stars beside Liara, he had reflected on everything he had learned, the patience, observation, intuition, and care that had guided him this far. Today, the final phase of their mission awaited, returning the artifact to a secure location where it could be protected, understood, and connected safely to the universe. Liara appeared beside him, hovering gracefully, her glow illuminating the morning air. She studied the path ahead with quiet focus. "The journey is nearly complete," she said, her voice as calm as ever. "The final steps require precision, understanding, and teamwork. The artifact is sensitive. It must be handled with the utmost care, and you, Jason, will guide it through this final leg." Jason nodded, adjusting the strap of the pack holding the artifact. He had grown confident over the past days. The lessons Liara had taught him had transformed his thinking. He no longer saw himself as ordinary. He understood now that human insight, empathy, and creativity were powerful tools, even in a universe of advanced civilizations. They set off along a narrow, winding path that led through a valley of tall, whispering grass. The artifact pulsed softly in his hands, responding to his focus and calm. The valley was quiet except for the gentle hum of nature, the wind rustling through the grass, birds calling from the distant trees, and the faint gurgle of a stream hidden somewhere nearby. Every detail mattered. Jason moved carefully, noting shifts in the energy of the artifact, adjusting his steps accordingly. Liara floated beside him, occasionally guiding him with subtle gestures. "It responds to thought and emotion," she reminded him. "Do not rush. Let it move with you, not against you." As they continued, they encountered a series of natural challenges: uneven terrain, small streams to cross, and thick patches of forest. Each obstacle tested their patience and ingenuity. Jason applied everything he had learned. He found sturdy branches to balance across streams, noticed patterns in the forest floor to avoid unstable ground, and anticipated the movement of the artifact to maintain harmony with the environment. Liara observed silently, her expression one of quiet pride. "You are learning faster than most scouts ever could," she said. "Your human perspective is precise, sensitive, and careful. That is why you are perfect for this task. Do not underestimate yourself." Jason smiled, a little embarrassed but grateful. For the first time, he truly believed that he could make a difference, that humans were capable of extraordinary things, even without advanced technology or immense strength. His small actions, careful observation, and attention to detail were shaping the outcome of a mission that stretched across the stars. By midday, they reached a plateau overlooking a wide valley below. The artifact pulsed more strongly, almost as if sensing the proximity of its final destination. Jason placed it gently on the ground and knelt beside it, closing his eyes to feel the energy more clearly. He sensed faint currents flowing from the artifact into the valley, harmonizing with life all around them: the grass, the insects, the birds, and even the wind itself. Liara floated closer, her eyes reflecting the golden sunlight. "Now comes the crucial part," she said. "We must guide it to its resting place. This location has been prepared to stabilize its energy. It will resonate safely here, allowing it to remain connected to the world without disturbance. Your guidance is essential. You understand it in a way no other being can." Jason took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility. The artifact was more than a simple object. It was a living connection, a bridge between worlds, a reminder that even the smallest human could influence events on a cosmic scale. Carefully, he lifted it, sensing its rhythm, its energy, and the way it harmonized with the natural world. Together, they moved toward the valley. The path was uneven, with hidden dips and rises. Jason adjusted his steps, guided by intuition and careful observation. Every time the artifact pulsed differently, he responded calmly, understanding its subtle signals. Liara occasionally reached out, offering support or guidance, but mostly she let Jason lead. As they descended, a gentle wind swept through the valley. The artifact's glow flickered in response, and Jason realized it was attuned to emotions as well as movements. He calmed himself, focusing on care, attention, and purpose. Slowly, the artifact's energy stabilized, syncing with his own steady heartbeat. He felt a quiet sense of connection, not just with the artifact, but with the world around him. Finally, they reached the prepared location, a small natural amphitheater surrounded by tall stones that reflected sunlight like mirrors. At the center was a circular platform, carved into the earth, radiating subtle energy. Jason placed the artifact carefully on the platform. Immediately, it pulsed brighter, then dimmed, harmonizing with the surrounding stones and the environment. The valley seemed to sigh with relief, the energy of the artifact merging perfectly with the life around it. Liara floated closer, her eyes glowing softly. "You have done it," she said quietly. "The artifact is safe. Your understanding, patience, and empathy guided it here. You have proven that ordinary humans are capable of extraordinary things. Never forget this." Jason looked at her, overwhelmed with a mixture of pride, relief, and awe. He had started as an ordinary man, unsure of his place in the world, and now he had accomplished something remarkable, not through strength, not through force, but through insight, care, and attention to detail. They spent the next hour observing the artifact. Jason noticed how it interacted with sunlight, with wind, and with life all around the valley. He realized that the universe was full of subtle forces, invisible to the eye, that could only be understood through careful attention and empathy. The artifact was not just a tool or a treasure, it was a reminder of the quiet, extraordinary power of understanding and cooperation. Liara turned to Jason. "Your mission is complete, but your journey is only beginning. Humanity has a potential that is often overlooked. Your patience, observation, and empathy are qualities that can shape the future. You have proven that ordinary humans can rise to challenges beyond imagination." Jason felt a profound truth settle in his heart. He understood now that adventure, discovery, and purpose did not always come in loud, dramatic ways. Sometimes it came quietly, through understanding, thoughtfulness, and the courage to care. Humans were not weak or insignificant. They were capable of shaping outcomes, connecting worlds, and protecting what mattered most through simple yet extraordinary actions. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Jason and Liara sat on a nearby rock, watching the valley glow with the artifact's stabilized energy. The colors shifted softly, a living pattern that mirrored the rhythm of life itself. Jason felt connected to the world in a way he had never known. He realized that his life had been ordinary not because it lacked meaning, but because he had never understood the power within himself. Liara broke the silence. "Before I leave, I want to give you something." She extended a small, glowing device toward him. "This will allow us to communicate across the stars. Not for missions, not for danger, but so that you may always remember the connection you have forged and continue to explore the universe in your own way." Jason accepted it, feeling the warmth of its energy pulse gently in his hands. He looked at Liara, who hovered quietly beside him, glowing softly in the twilight. "Thank you," he said simply, "for everything, for teaching me, guiding me, and showing me that humans are capable of so much more than I ever imagined." Liara smiled. "Thank you, Jason, for trusting yourself. You have learned quickly, guided wisely, and acted with care. You are proof that the ordinary can become extraordinary. Remember this truth, share it, live it." As night fell, Liara's glow grew brighter for a moment, then shimmered and disappeared into the sky. Jason watched as the stars seemed to welcome her back into the universe. He felt a quiet sadness at her departure, but also a deep sense of gratitude. He had been changed forever. Returning home that night, Jason walked under the familiar streets of his neighborhood. Everything seemed the same, the trees, the houses, the soft glow of streetlights, but he saw it all differently. Life, he realized, was full of subtle energy, patterns, and possibilities. He was no longer an ordinary man. He was someone who had glimpsed the vastness of the universe, who had connected with something extraordinary, and who had discovered the quiet, profound power of humanity. Over the next days, Jason found himself noticing things he had never seen before. The way the wind moved through trees, the way animals interacted with their environment, the patterns of people's expressions and gestures. He realized that the universe was full of lessons waiting to be understood, and humans had a special gift. the ability to observe, to empathize, and to act thoughtfully in ways that could change outcomes far beyond their immediate understanding. The artifact remained in its valley, safe and harmonized with the world around it. Jason visited it occasionally, sensing its pulse and feeling the connection they had forged. Each visit reminded him of the lessons he had learned: patience, observation, intuition, care, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. Jason's life returned to a quieter rhythm, but he no longer felt ordinary. Every decision he made, every small act of care or thoughtfulness carried meaning. He understood that humans were capable of extraordinary things not through brute strength or advanced technology, but through insight, empathy, creativity, and connection. One evening, as he looked up at the night sky, he felt a soft glow in his hand, the device Liara had given him. He touched it gently and smiled, knowing that somewhere among the stars, she watched over the universe. He felt a quiet joy and certainty. Humanity had potential, and he had discovered a part of it within himself. Jason realized that the adventure had not ended with the artifact. It had only begun. Every day, every action, and every choice could become part of something greater. And he, an ordinary human no longer, would continue to live with purpose, curiosity, and the understanding that even the smallest beings could make a difference in the vast universe. He closed his eyes and felt the energy of the stars, the earth, and the artifact within him. Jason smiled, knowing that humans were extraordinary, not because of power or might, but because of their ability to care, to understand, and to rise to challenges no one else could face. And with that, he stepped forward into the quiet night, ready for all the possibilities the universe had to offer.